Ah yes, Splatoon, a game in which you probably thought was just about running around and splatting people with ink until they die, drowning in the opposite team's color. Well, it's not just that, it's much more than that actually. And today I'm here to show you that. Cause Splatoon isn't just some little game about covering turf. No, it is worse. It is much worse. See, I noticed something very strange when I was playing as the Kraken, and I noticed something that wasn't quite right. You see, a Kraken is nothing but a larger squid, a very muscular squid. A squid that can take down an enemy simply by running into him. You see, I thought that was very strange about the Kraken, and then I noticed something. What is the Kraken? Could it simply just be a squid on steroids, or something worse than that? And that got me thinking, and then I started to notice more strange things about this game, and I'll show you where this all begins. At the plaza. Oh, what the actual Jesus Christ! This drug dealer man literally eats the snails that you give him. Like, what the hell? Now, before I go into any more detail about all these random crazy things in Splatoon, let me tell you why I'm here today and what I'm going to talk to you about. You see, because I don't think Splatoon is just a game, like I've said, to go around painting stuff, but I think this game is all about drugs. The usage of drugs, carrying drugs, and the whole game evolves around drugs, and I'm going to show you how. So you already have a Kraken, which is like a giant squid on steroids that goes around killing people just by touching them. And then you have a drug dealer in an alley that you give snails to that he literally eats. And you gamble your money with him once again in a dark alley. Like, what is this game? I'd like us to begin where the whole thing starts, at Sheldon's weapons store. So here's Sheldon's weapons store. Now meet Sheldon, a narcissistic asshole who never shuts the hell up. Now, there's so many weird things about Sheldon, aside from the pink liquid in the back there, and all these weapons he stores up, but Sheldon is a very strange man. He sells you weapons, he sells guns to children, and you don't even have to sign anything. You just throw way too much money at him, and you walk out with your weapon without any wait period. Now, I don't know if Sheldon is living the Republican dream, or something else, but this man is literally clinically insane, and I need to show you why. Sheldon here, who miraculously still hasn't shut the hell up, Stop talking! Is the one who has to supply the steroids in the weapons. He gives away all the weapons, and only some weapons come with a Kraken special. Clearly, he is the one putting steroids in these weapons. And why does he put the steroids into these weapons? Well, I'll get to that. Sheldon clearly responds to a higher power. And who is this higher power? Callie and Mari. Or, of course, cleverly hidden with a pun for their name, Calamari. But their real name, or as we know them as, is Agent 1 and Agent 2 if you've played the single player. But what are they trying to hide? And why do they do this with the Kraken and all these drugs? Let me show you something. But before that, if you just realized, Callie and Mari were bringing in new weapons into the game, giving them to Sheldon, which means they're the ones who have to give the steroids to begin with to Sheldon for the weapons. And another thing, they're the ones who always choose the stages. Every single time they choose where people are gonna battle for the turf. Now, this is very interesting because if you haven't realized, all these maps are really weird, have really strange locations, and let me explain that. So the stage in this gameplay is Walleye Warehouse. Now, if you notice in Walleye Warehouse, there's tons of boxes and shipments. Now, why would you want to own that turf? Well, here's the thing. Once you and your team owns the turf, you own the shipments. And what's in that shipments? You guessed it, the drugs. Once you have all the turf from the warehouse, you own the shipments. Then, you send those shipments to Hammerhead Bridge, and from Hammerhead Bridge, the shipments are sent out to the Piranha Pit, Salt Spray Rig, and of course, Port Mackerel, where you can see all the shipments. Now, there's something definitely strange about Hammerhead Bridge, and we can see this on the wiki. So here we are on the wiki, and there's a quote from Callie Mari saying, "This bridge has been under construction like forever." And then Mari says, "Are all the workers slacking off or what?" Now, I believe they're using Hammerhead Bridge as an area to hold all of their shipments in crates with the drugs in it. This is not actually under construction, it's just their secret spot to hold all the drugs so they can ship ship them off to the other stages where you battle in the game. Another place the drugs could be shipped to from Hammerhead Bridge is also Bluefin Depot, so another place on the water that you would want to gain control of, and the Anchovy Games area where there's a lot of shipments around there as well, just like Walleye Warehouse. Now you might be saying, but what about all the other stages? I mean, they're not all just places to hold the shipments, and you're correct. Now see, once you've gained turf of the area where the shipments are and where the drugs are, you then have to gain the turf of where to sell them. These stages include Arowana Mall, Blackbelly Skate Park, Murai Towers, Camp Triggerfish, Flounder Heights, Urchin Underpass, Museum Dalfonsino, and Mahi Mahi Resort. You want to own all the turf there because it's really good for your business. You know, in Turf War, when you win, you get more money, and you will get money because once you've owned these places, you can distribute the drugs to all the residences who live near there, especially Mahi Mahi Resort. I mean, it's a resort and there's probably a bunch of rich squids all around there who are willing to take your money. Alright, to summarize, drug kingpins Callie and Mari give weapons to Sheldon, who sells them to you, some of them laced with steroids and are accessible without a wait day period. Then, before you go to gain turf so you can own the drugs and then distribute them, you can go to a man in an alley who will steal things from other players and give them to you. He also eats snails that you give him, and then you go into the turf battles, try and gain the turf, and then once you own the turf, the endless cycle continues of constant drug abuse. That is the game Splatoon. And there's an entire stage that's basically a huge marijuana farm. Boy.